for me with e-commerce, I started enjoying it when I think of it as a game. Meaning, hey, there's numbers in
Hmm.
here. How can I manipulate those numbers and make base my decisions on that what the data is telling me? Okay, and then how can I duplicate that success so I can make more money?
You're listening to Ecomonics, a Debutify podcast, your resource for one-of-a-kind insights into the world of e-commerce and business in the modern age. This is Joseph. I'll be presenting a wealth of industry knowledge from interviews with successful business people and our own state-of-the-art research. Your time is valuable, so let's go. Jandy Cerezo joins us today to illustrate some of the long-standing principles of business and e-commerce, being prepared for your next move, training for the long run, being in the right state of mind, and valuing growth. When I was preparing for my interview with him, I noted how much he values mindset, and I wanted to make sure we learned more about that. So sit back, relax, and get ready to change by the end of the next hour. Jandy Cerezo, it's good to have you here. Thank you for being on Ecomonics, a Debutify podcast. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you, Joseph. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. We got a lot to get to today, and one of the things that I'm excited to talk to you about is mindset. It's one of my favorite subjects, and I know you're a big proponent of that. But we have a very important question. It's arguably the most important question of all. It's the seed by which all other questions are formed once it's watered and given ample oxygen and light. Tell us, who are you, and what do you do?
Awesome. So my name is Jandy Cerezo, and I am an e-commerce owner. I've been running e-commerce stores for about 3 years now or so. 7 active stores at the moment using Shopify, and pretty much started doing drop shipping 3 years ago. But before that, I've tried different stuff like eBay, Amazon, and I was on a 9 to 5 before that doing IT. But then I decided, hey, this is not for me. I wanted to find that financial freedom and pretty much go from there. And
Mhm.
my first success is through drop shipping. I made my first sale at actually on March 2017. I can still remember that.
March
And I'm
2017, yeah.
yeah, and I'm still running that Shopify store actually, transitioning from a AliExpress drop shipping to a branded store. But much to say, it's a lot of involvement and also a lot of things has you know changed in the past 3 years, especially in the drop shipping industry. But anyway, that's me, e-commerce owner. I've done multiple six figures and seven figure stores, and looking to break into the eight figures in the next few months.
I wish you luck on that front. I don't know if I mean I try not to like spend too much time talking about like the figures
Just
of a
yeah.
person. I don't know if we've gotten any eight figures yet, but we'll you never know. So let me just make sure that we've got all your pursuits covered, just so that our listeners have a full scope of you. Obviously, you brought up a lot of it already. You have a dual blog. There's a mindset blog and an e-commerce blog. I know you have one-on-one calls. You got your YouTube, which is where I've been able to find a lot of the questions that I'm going to ask you today. And then you've said that you're an online seller, and also I want to
Yeah,
characterize you
yeah,
as a
I would say
brand
so.
developer. Is that a fair assessment?
I would say so. Yeah.
Okay, great. So over the course of, let's say, give it over the course of a week, how are you divvying up your focus? What is like your main pursuits right now? What are you doing as secondary, tertiary, and so on? Any hobbies? You can throw that in there.
Yeah, that's a good question. In terms of hobbies, I do like to go to the gym. It's one of my habits that puts me into the right state of mind. I do have a morning routine and also a night routine. My morning routine consists of waking up and trying not to touch my phone in the first 5 minutes, and as well as prepping myself to go to the gym. Now, for me, gym is one of the most important aspect of my life because It's not just to help me physically, but also emotionally. Because with entrepreneurship, especially for those that are listening right now, I'm pretty sure most of your listeners are in that stage or going to that stage. You're gonna need a break from time to
Hmm.
time, and gym for me is one of the important thing that takes me away from the business side. But one thing that I implemented recently actually is listening to podcasts while at the gym. So while at the gym, I'm still learning. I'm still actively pushing myself physically and mentally as well. That's my main hobby. Second hobby would be sports such as basketball. I enjoy basketball. But other than that, 60% of my day consists of running e-com stores. And the past week or past couple of weeks, I've, there's challenges that I have to go through, which is now building a team.
Hmm.
I went from two-person team, a couple of years ago, now up to 15 people. Managing that is a different, whole new different level of mindset, and also leadership, and also just managing your time wisely so you can focus on the ones that's really important to grow your business. So yeah, that the past week, that's pretty
Hmm.
much eating up a lot of my time. But luckily, I get to spend my free time with my wife, and also just doing the things that I love, like gym and basketball and stuff like that.
I myself, I'm not much of a gym goer. I cover my basics when it comes to exercise, but it was never something that I particularly would go do. I think it was for me. It was the fact that it's a social public setting, and I find my own workout to be something that I want to do privately. So that's kind of been me. But where I think we can agree is that the relationship between the mind and the body is quite interconnected. I mean, most of us realize that intuitively, but I think a lot of people don't quite get a grip on how important physical wellness is to actually improve mental wellness. I think a lot of people just might disconnect their body from their mind, and that, well, my mind is this conscious thing. It makes decisions, and I prefer to be in a good mood, and then my body is just the car that drives it around. And that's not really the case. What's the case is that the mind and the body are constantly talking to each other. So from your side of it, what part of that checks out to you?
Yeah, so 100%. It's all about balance. If, let's say, the output energy from, like, mentally, right? Your Most of your energy mentally will be going towards the business side. But you need to balance that energy as well. You need to pull it back, okay? So that you're not producing too much energy, and you don't go to that point where you're gonna stress out into your business. And one way to pull it back is getting that energy back and putting that towards something else, such as your physical body. Hence why, for me, going to the gym back then, it was much more on the social aspect. Hey, I want to look good, I want to have a nice
Hmm.
body, I want those abs and, big muscles and stuff like that. But then, a year ago, when I started going to the gym with purpose, and also started listening to podcasts and stuff like that, it became like it was a sanctuary for me.
Hmm.
No one can touch me once I'm at the gym. I would put my headphones on. I would listen to podcasts, whether it's about mindset, or whether it's about team leadership, or e-commerce. Wherever I need to level up, in that case, I will learn in at
Hmm.
that gym. I found that when I'm at home, I can't really learn, which is really really weird. But when I'm at the gym, I'm learning at the same time, while I'm transferring the energy through the weights. Now, I'm if I'm quite stressed out in the business, which you will experience your stress level, it will go really high, especially if you're running multiple stores or multiple businesses, or if you just have so much stuff in your hands. And that way, when I'm lifting weights. Sometimes I can transfer those high stress level energy into the weights, which helps me to push more. And while transferring that energy, I actually feel a lot better. Okay, it makes me calmer, and it makes me not think about all the stressful stuff because I'm transferring that energy into lifting weights instead.
So there's 2 points that I want to raise just from hearing this, and this is important stuff. And I realize this is an e-commerce podcast. We'll get back to it, but this is really important stuff too. And I'm a sucker for mindset stuff. So the first point that I want to raise based on what you were saying is how you use the gym as an area to learn. And what sticks out to me about that, just through my own personal habits at home, is that I tend to have media running quite often while I'm making food, while I'm doing chores, even if I just need like a mental break or something, and I'll put on a YouTube video. And what I can see as a possible issue is that home is a realm of comfort. And so comfort might not be the best setting to learn. Learning often comes through hardship and through adversity and training and just basic resistance training. So there's something to being in a state of discomfort in both the mental and the physical sense. So that's the first thing that sticks out to me. The second thing on a macro level is how you're pointing out that energy can be over expended in one area, and you can do yourself a lot of favors by taking that energy back and then expanding it in a different area. And the reason why I say on a macro sense is because it sounds to me like that's what you did with your life, is that you were putting a lot of energy into your physical expenditures, and then you got to the point where you realized, you wanted your freedom, you wanted to take control of your life, and all of that has to come from decision making, which is a mental thing.
Yeah, so honestly, like this mindset stuff, it's one of the biggest foundation for my success personally, and I would say so for other people as well. I would say 98% of successful entrepreneurs out there have some sort of strong foundation of mindsets. In terms of balancing your mental state and also your physical state, yep, they have some sort of correlation in there. What I found when I first started doing e-commerce, I didn't have that foundation of, well, pretty much have a strong mindset into running a proper business. And what I did back then 3 years ago was I took a step back, and I read a lot of self-development books. And also I focused on strengthening my mindset and focusing on that
Mhm.
stage before I go full on running my e-commerce business. It took almost a year. Okay, I was still at my full-time job while running the side hustle of e-commerce businesses before I actually quit my job. And if I didn't train my mindset, I wouldn't have gone through that. Now, the most important thing there would be consistency. Whatever you do in life, whether it's e-commerce, whether it's, for example, like the gym, right? If you're not consistent with
Mhm.
your eating habits and also with your lifting habits, then the result won't show. That's the same with e-commerce business. When you're failing at the start, which is the best thing to do, is to fail as much as you can, like what you said about adversities and stuff like that. You have to experience those and then learn from those instead of thinking, hey, that's something that I don't want to do anymore because I failed at it. Use it as a learning curve. Apply that into your next strategy or next implementation, and you will stay consistent doing it that way instead of just sitting on your ass and giving up. It's not gonna get you anywhere, and most likely, hence why,
Mhm.
not all people are successful because it's not easy. It's not an easy task, but being consistent is one of the main thing that you had to go through first. Okay, and the second most important thing that I would say is enjoying, finding the fun part on what you want to do. For me, with e-commerce, I started enjoying it when I think of it as a game, meaning, hey, there's numbers in
Hmm.
here. How can I manipulate those numbers and make base my decisions on that what the data is telling me? Okay, and then how can I duplicate that success so I can make more money? Now this becomes like a game, and once you trick your mind that this is not a chore. Now like gym can be a chore as well, but you can apply that with your business as well. Once you stop thinking of something as a chore, something that you have to do but you actually want to do, that's gonna push you even further for consistency and get your success a lot faster.
Hmm. So I think this would be as good a time as any to bring in some of your success stories, just so that the audience can see how you were able to put this into practice. So one of your YouTube videos that sticks out is you have a $1 million online business, as you said at the beginning, at 7 figures. Now I just want to make sure that I got my facts right here. Is that the core of it is that for its long-term sustainability, it's transitioned from a drop shipping store to a branded niche store.
Yes, so at the moment I have three branded stores
Okay.
that started from dropshipping stores, and I have three other niche dropshipping stores and one general store for testing purposes. What the main thing here is that many people actually get the branding wrong, because they think, hey, if you slap a
Mhm.
logo on the product, hey, that's a branded product already. There's more to it than that. So pretty much what branding is, from my understanding or from my own experience, is that it's community building and also putting your customer first. It's increasing the value of your customers instead of increasing the value of your product. Yes, you can increase the value of your product to an extent, but will it make better relationship with your customers? What you want is to create a strong community that your customers will follow, and you have a your own core value of your business values, and does that align with the customers? It's not simply putting your logo in that, yep, that will improve the value of the product, but that won't improve the value with the customers. Hence why the drop shipping itself is only a fulfillment system. It's not a full business model. It's just simply a fulfillment system. Dropshipping has been
Mhm.
running for more than, I don't know, 30 years now, right? But it's only been recently where um, people are putting out content and saying, hey, dropshipping, it's easy to get into, which it is, but building the brand, you can still build the brand with dropshipping. There's, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and it's also important to point out too is that drop shipping in this sense, in the conventional e-commerce sense, has been running for as long as you said. But the concept of somebody wholesaling products somewhere else, that goes way back. And actually, and I have a solo episode about this, about the origins of drop shipping. Now, it wasn't like in the 1700s. Somebody was making YouTube videos. They weren't like drawn out pieces of parchment where that looked very similar to thumbnails of today. But this is a fundamental business practice. As long as we've had business, we've had
Yeah.
something along these lines.
So yeah, like what you said, it's been going on for a long time. If you focus more on your customers, that's how you're gonna make more sales and make that long term business. Now, my branded stores are actually 30% drop shipped, and 70% will bulk order from China and then ship it to USA, since it's more cost effective that way. So you know in theory, I'm still
Mhm.
drop shipping in my branded stores, but I was able to create a long-term business through that while still drop shipping. I've been running the same store for 3 years now and done over 2 million. And there's always a way for you to differentiate yourself, which is the key success to drop shipping at the moment. If you don't differentiate yourself, then you're just going to be competing with others. But once you start implementing your own unique selling point, your own unique strategies, that's how you're going to differentiate yourself from other dropshippers. Hence, you have that competitive advantage. What you want is that competitive advantage to beat your competitors, pretty much.
So with your severed stores, is there a cohesive link between them, or do they stand on their own platforms? Like if I were to go to one store, would I find a way into the other stores and eventually make my way up to the host brand, which would be Jandy Cerezo?
It's a good question.
Thank you.
They're separate entities. They're all separate. They all have
Okay.
their own niche, but they all run in the Shopify platform. But pretty much once you see my stores, all of them would have the same characteristics on other stores, such as running the same upsells, pretty much similar structure of product
Mm-hmm.
descriptions, and also all the backend stuff. They're all gonna have that core apps and core backend strategy that is applied from one store to other stores as well. But that's definitely a good point as well, because you can definitely create something that is more congruent. So in one let's say one business, which is a good point, because I have a clothing store and I have a watch store that I want to combine, which I should probably do in the future. So
Mm-hmm.
thanks for that, Joseph.
Hey, hey, you're welcome. Mazel tov. For what it's worth, that question was improvised, but
Yeah.
we take those. So let's talk about passive income, because I know this is something that you've brought up, and it seems like kind of a unicorn where you hear passive income and you think, "Oh, I get money. I don't have to do a thing." Like, well, not quite. You had to do a bunch of things, but the returns are over time. So for audience who, like myself, might be skeptical about anything truly being passive income, where is the reality and where is the myth, and what did you do to pull it off?
So passive income itself is, I was, it's a overused term,
I believe that.
but it's the meaning of it is it's kind of, I don't know, it's been diluted. So
Sure.
what?
So one thing, maybe let me just help
Yeah,
for a second, because maybe I can help draw a
yeah,
parallel.
yeah,
So I think when people think active income, they think that there's a one-to-one relationship between their labor and the money that they get.
yeah,
So you log. I, in transparency, I'm doing this as a job, so I'm getting hours for it. If I stop working, then the hours stop and then the pay stops. So that's what I would see as active income. Passive income could be putting money in a bank and getting interest. So it is a saturated term, to be fair.
yeah. It is. But the thing is, with most passive income, and in order to live off passive income, you have to put in the work, and you're gonna need to put in countless of hours of work before you start seeing that return. With the society right now, especially the instant gratification, a lot of people don't go through the work because they expect the return on the same day, same hour, after they put in the work. But it doesn't really work that way. Like, for example, building your portfolio through real estate, right? Which I've started doing myself. You still have to do your own research. You still have to learn all of the real estate stuff. And that's going to take you many hours to do so before you actually put money into it. So same with business. A couple of my stores already are uh, passively just generating me income, but I was able to do that by working hard at it, and also systemizing and putting process in place, which made it passive. But putting those system and also process pretty much took me a whole year to
Hmm.
put a system in place. But after that year, okay, you start seeing that passive income go to work. It's not this instant gratification. Hey, I'm gonna hire a VA and pretty much teach her this, okay? But you're still, you don't have a system in place because a VA can only do so much. But once you start building that process inside your business and having a proper structure from, let's say, customer service up to doing your Facebook ads, okay? There are many steps between customer service and up to the Facebook ads and leading up to sales. That includes, conversion rate optimization, that includes back end marketing, that includes importing products and stuff like that. Once you have structure, which took me a year personally, then that's where you start realizing the actual return on investment and actually get that passive income to work for you.
One thing I want to get back to that you had brought up earlier on was that right now you're trying to build a team, and you mentioned just now, bringing on a VA, but there's only so much that a VA can do. So one of the main threads that I guess I want to work on is for people who they're in the position where maybe the ball has been rolling for them and their first drop shipping, they're having their first successful drop shipping experiment. And so now all of a sudden the pathways have opened and now they realize, oh, now what do I do? So can you tell us about like what were your initial hires to get you started and then like what team members you have to build in your current state?
Yep, another good question, Joseph.
Thank
Since
you.
this is kind of where my most of my energy is going to now, is team building and leadership and managing. In terms of, let's say, hey, I found success with this product. This is my first winning product. Where do I go from there? Well, first off, what I would highly suggest, which I regret not doing, is documenting everything that you do in your business while you're doing it. So let's say, hey, you're doing customer service, document that. You're importing products. What's your process around that? Your testing, ad testing. What's your ad testing strategy? Document all of those. Video yourself. Write detailed documents. Okay, and that's you're gonna thank yourself in the future. By that's pretty much a 10x, at least 10x return on investment by doing it at the same time you're doing the task. Now, in terms of, team building, there's a lot of sites that you can go to, but for me, my team is Filipino based. So the 15 people under me are all Filipinos, and I hired them from Online Jobs at PH. The most important thing that I've experienced so far while hiring is having the interviewing them and talking about mindset, like what we're talking about at the
Hmm.
moment, and their soft skills. What are their personalities like? Do they have that entrepreneur mindset as well? Because with they're gonna help you grow your business. They're not just gonna do tasks for you, but they're also willing to put their time in so that your business will grow pretty much. Because yes, skills can be looked at as well, but I'm more focused on the soft skills because all the stuff that you documented in the past should translate into easy onboarding and pretty much training as well, which is going to save you plenty of time. Now, in terms of my team structure, especially for dropshipping, I actually have three departments running at the moment. I have the customer service team, which involves one customer service manager and two customer service rep. So there's three people and one person managing that in that department. And then I have the brand team. The brand team, I have a copywriter, I have a video editor, I have a graphic designer, conversion rate optimizer, and also an email marketer. That's under brand team, and I'm managing that myself
Hmm.
mainly. And then I have the dropshipping team, which I recently built. I would say a couple of months ago. Started that a couple of months ago, and I have a project manager there. That's my one of my best hires so far is the
A
project
project
manager.
manager.
Yeah, a project manager pretty much overhauls the. Oh, he sees the whole process and operations, and he pretty much handles everything. You tell him, hey, this is what we want. Okay, write a detailed guide of what you want, and also what you expect, and make sure it's measurable as well. I think there's a terminology for that. It's like smart or something like that. So you guys can look it up if you want to. But anyway, yeah. So I have a project manager. Then under that, I have a product researcher, a product importer, another video editor, and also a copywriter. Now, copywriting is really important because that enables your business to identify the customer avatar. Okay, sorry, I'm going off track here, but I just want to add on top of that is that to get more sales, you're gonna have to be talking to your ideal customers. You can't be talking to everyone in general. You can be lucky to get sales that way, but that's not scalable. It is better to stick into a sub niche that you well you know their language, hence why you train your copywriter to research about those customers, and so that once she starts doing the product description, the language that she's writing or speaking will align to your potential customers that land on your page, and hence why you're going to have a higher conversion rate and higher success rate pretty much. So yeah, 15 people, 3 departments, project manager, best hire. I would look into hiring your first project manager first, because they will help out with onboarding as well, and hiring and training and all of that stuff, and you have another pretty much set of brain to bounce ideas off.
Hmm. We have a pretty fantastic. I mean, everybody at Debutify is great, but our project manager Mohammed, he is integral to helping the company run on a day-to-day basis. And with respect to his work ethic, he runs management meetings, and due to the time zone constraints, he's up at 3 a.m. running these. So he it's definitely deserving of at least the one shout out, probably another six throughout the course of this series. So yeah, I completely support that. Here's my question to you about your mindset, because the thread is you trained yourself before going into the drop shipping side of it. And I first hear it, and first it registers as unusual, but it's not. I mean, people always train before they do things. They train before people train before they fight. You train soldiers. You train grocery boys. I was trained as a grocery boy once upon a time, and my training actually still takes over. By the way, I'll still go to a shelf and I'll pick a product out, and then I'll put the other ones up front just to like reface it because the muscle memory doesn't go away. So with entering a management role, was that the same situation, or did you just kind of like jump into it, learn as you go, or how were you training to be ready to lead others?
That's a good question, because I'll tell you a little story. Well, not little story. I'll just go back maybe
I
a
prefer
couple years.
medium length stories. Doesn't have to
Yeah,
be too,
okay, fine.
doesn't have to be. We don't want everything to be short. Oh yeah, yeah. So I did this and this. All right, shows. Yeah. So I prefer
Yeah,
medium.
yeah, cool. So like I said earlier, I think of this as a game, and every game has a milestone or a goal to achieve. My first milestone first year was to hit 6 figures, which I did through that. Now you're gonna need, the simple foundation of mindset to hit 6 figures. That could be, having the right habits, and also just being consistent with your work. You'll be able to hit 6 figures in no time. But going from 6 figures to 7 figures is another whole set
Hmm.
it's a big learning curve that you need to apply, and also train your mind as well. Hence why I put a lot of emphasis on mindset, is because I attribute all my success through that. It's not because I'm good at doing what I do, but I wouldn't have been good at doing what I do if I didn't have the right habits, or the right learning platforms that I use, like for example podcasts and YouTubes, and also a right community. Now with that as well, 6 figures to 7 figures, you're gonna need a mentor or a coach. Now my mentor is
Hmm.
actually locally, and I just found him through a friend, and he doesn't do drop shipping, but he runs an e-commerce business, but he aligns with my the same, pretty much we have the same mindset, and also we see things the same way. But what you want to do is when you're finding that mentor, you need to make sure that they are at least 5x or 10x better than you, because you obviously you want to be like them in the future, and they're going to be able
Hmm.
to help you out with that. Luckily, he's not charging me anything. We've become good friends, and he's helping me throughout, with the mindset stuff, reading books, and also learning on a daily basis is a must. It's gonna help you stay consistent on what you do. Once I start feeling, let's say, stress, once that starts to build up, which I haven't been feeling a lot recently, because I've trained my mind to not to try stay away from stress.
Hmm.
But since I'm trying to build this team, 7 to 8 figures, maybe a couple months ago, that's when I hit my peak in terms of stress level, because every level is gonna hit you differently, and you're gonna need a different kinds of resources. Sometimes mindset can only take you that far with what you have at what you are equipped with at the moment. So you're gonna need to find something else that will push you to go to the next level. For me, for example, is how am I gonna hit that 8 figure mark? And I started listening to just pretty much 1 month of just leadership, hiring, managing team, and hence why I got up to from 2 people to 15 people under me, is because through you know myself dedicating into one single aspect that I wanna focus on, that will enable me to hit the next level, which is 8 figures. I'm able to stay consistent on what I believe in. So if I want to hit the 8 figures, I need to learn more about managing teams, and you're gonna need all the resources that you can find in order to do that. Invest on yourself first before your business. Always invest on yourself first, whether you're investing your time, which is more important than money,
Hmm.
and also investing into, like, courses or mentors or paid groups and stuff like that. Always invest on yourself first. Educate yourself in that one aspect, and make sure to take action, to implement those things that you learn. If you are not implementing the things that you learn, there won't be any results, right? If you're scared into like trying new things, then how are you going to find out if it's a good thing or a bad thing? So what I'm focusing at the moment is, yes, managing team, and yes, we are on track of hitting that 8 figures, but I feel like I'm still not capable enough to hit the 8 figures, because I haven't learned the eight
Hmm.
figure way, pretty much. So all of these successful entrepreneurs, like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and stuff like that, they all have different stages. They're just in a different stage, so they're gonna need a different mindset in order to hit whatever their goal is at the moment, or whatever they're trying to achieve. So know your place, identify what you need to work on, learn about that, invest on yourself, and take action.
I think that's great. And I think one important distinction to make is that hypothetically, let's say somebody does hit that success goal, but if they're not mentally prepared to deal with that new situation, then their success will come crashing down and they might actually end up in a worse place than they were before, because now they have the burden of failure, of that level of failure. And it's not like, well, that ad didn't work, time to go on to a new one. It's like, wow, I really hit rock bottom as a person. So that's important.
Yeah.
Elon Musk doesn't wake up one day as Elon Musk. It was his development over time.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there.
Yeah,
And yeah, that takes a different skill set again, and mindset as well. Because sometimes when uh, I'm guilty of this. When I have failures, still am. I do get sad about it,
sure.
but I won't let myself get sad about it for more than a day. That's like a golden rule I have set in place. Now, sometimes if I hit major loss, maybe I lost $1,000 in one day, and one store, okay, I'll be sad about it for let's say maximum of 15 minutes pretty much. Because in reality, what's important is being present in the now. If you focus in the past, then that's not going to help you move forward, because you're going to be stuck in the past. But in the future as well, that if you start focusing too much on the future, then you're going to get stuck in that future, and you're just going to be like, hey, you have that expectations that, hey, I need to hit this mark, and you're going to put a lot of pressure on yourself. But once you start focusing on the now and in the present, you're gonna have a whole lot of leveling up. Because
Mhm.
I think it was the book Power of Now. At first, I didn't understand the concept of being in the present, but when once I started applying that, I realized the power of it. Because when you're in the present, you don't worry about the future, you don't worry about the past, you enjoy the moment, and you're only focused on that moment. That you don't realize, now this is where instant gratification comes into place as well. You don't realize the thing that you are doing right now is so valuable, whether it's, hey, I'm gonna start implementing email marketing and I want to hit 1 mil. Okay, you have a goal, but you don't focus on that 1 mil. How are you gonna hit that 1 mil is what you should focus on. But better yet, in the micro level, how are you gonna hit your first $1,000 in email revenue, right? And that's, pulling back to the now, to the present. To hit that $1,000, I need to do this right now. Okay, the compound effect of the now, of staying in the present, is so huge that people don't realize the potential of it.
Mhm.
Like I said, if you stay in the past, you're gonna be stuck in the past, and you're gonna just, you know, drown in the past, because there's so much regrets. You're gonna start feeling regrets, and you're gonna start feeling like feeling down, because, hey, I should have done that. You're gonna start thinking about that, and the mental fatigue is actually so real that you won't be able to focus on your business. Hence why staying in the now, staying in the present, staying in your lane,
Mhm.
focusing on what you can do now is will just benefit you over time.
Mhm. Another side of it too that my goodness, I would be very embarrassed if I mix this up with somebody else that I was researching. But I know that you do have a religious background as well, right? Like
Yep.
you're a Christian.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was raised in the Catholic Church. I refer to myself as a Christian, but I'm not. Well, I'm not good at it. I'll say that much. But I do have like my own views on religion and my own views on God. And one of the ways that I try to stay present is to have faith in the experience that is being laid out for me, and that there are greater things beyond my understanding. In the same way, an ant will never understand somebody waving their hand over it, and so that's just one tool that I think is important to the human experience, is to understand that there's a river, right? And the river is controlling us. And if you swim along with the stream, you'll get through the river quicker. If you hold still, you just let the river carry you. If you swim away from it, well, then you're putting up a resistance. And I'm not really sure why anyone would do that. But the overall point is that being present in the moment is an act of faith.
Yep.
It's not worrying about what I should have done differently in that moment. It's not worrying about what I should be done next. It's just about what is going on right here, right now, that is important to my long term experience. And I don't want to tell people to sign up for a church or anything like that, because religion is a sensitive subject. But your ability to decide on things, I think, changes if you have this feeling inside of you that you are going to have to answer for yourself in a future life, or if you however you think you're going to end up, well, once we pass through this life. And I have met people who not only don't believe in that, but they actively repel it, and I've seen the way it changes their decision making, and frankly it makes them small.
Yep. Yep. Completely agree with you there. Just going back to what you said about faith and church and stuff. Another side story here. I the re one of the well the main reason why I started YouTube and started sharing content was because it was around, what was it, April, and this is, yeah, April 2 years ago. I had a vision. Hey, if you're a Christian, yep, you know, if you have faith, then you believe that vision. On the other scale, you know, it could just be affirmation, but that vision was to help millions of people with giving them understanding of passive income and financial freedom. That was the vision
Mhm.
that was given to me at that time in church. What happened next is so unbelievable that even right now I still don't know what, like, you know, I'm so clueless, like how did that even happen. So after that vision, um myself, I was just pretty much focused on what I can do now to achieve that vision. Like I said, whether if you're a believer or not, if you're not a believer, that could be an affirmation, which, like you said, could use as a tool to leverage your position right now. I focused on I was pretty much gaming then. I was you know, I had different hobbies then. I quit all of that on the same day I got that vision and focused solely on how I can achieve or how I can get closer to that vision. I did that for a month. I did that for a month. Now, not many people know the story. But yeah, I did that for a whole month, you know, just focusing on how I can help out. After a month, I hit two breakthroughs. Hit my first $1 million store 2 years ago. And also, I was able to quit my job. And also, I was able to start my YouTube journey. And that was such a huge breakthrough. Like I said, I still don't know what happened or how it happened, but you know, believing in something can be used as a tool, but make sure you stick to that and go go back to the micro level and what you can do now. Use that tool to motivate yourself and to base your actions on, pretty much.
Oh, so you said you didn't really tell that story to very many people, and I'm feeling some pride right now because you've put out quite a few YouTube videos and you have a YouTube channel. So there's nothing to stop you from just doing it. But uh, so yeah, I'm feeling I'm feeling a swell of pride over that.
I see.
So quick pat myself on the back. I want to spend a little bit more time just giving our audience a little bit more of your advice, just because I think people they get you really well. I would say at this point, or you know, as well as anybody can achieve in what was it, 50 minutes. But before we let you go, I also want to get a few more of your practices, knowing what we know about the way you think and how important it is that you really, you know, you live life frankly correctly. You know, you train for it, you prepare for it, and then you live it. So here's one for me from your Instagram. This is a bit of a window into your past. I'm so sorry. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. Okay, so I'm so your Instagram post is once I read this stuff, people understand why this is funny to me. But you wrote coming into 2020 hot, right? Like right at the beginning of it, before we knew what was going to happen with the pandemic. So 2020 says no. You coming hot? I have something to say about that. So how did your effort to 10 times what you were going to do at the beginning of this year end up? Like, how close were you to your vision? How much did COVID get in the way? And how much did you, sail past this and get to where you are now?
Another good question. Actually, with before that, I had a goal of hitting 2 million this year, which I've already done, thanks to COVID. Now, COVID can be viewed as a negative way, but I viewed it as a positive way in terms of the business side, obviously.
Sure.
But there's still that negative aspect of it. In the business side, it that's when I was able to hit a 500K per month revenue, and through that, I saw an even bigger potential in e-commerce, which enabled me to base my next goals on, and also how I can achieve it. Coming into 2020, it's like in the past few years, it's all about goal setting, and it's all about how you can achieve those goals, and it's definitely changed with COVID being there. But there's always a good thing that will happen through any negative things that do happen to you. With this one, a few good things that happened to me was, my business boomed, my relationship boomed.
Hmm.
By we were able to get married even through this time, and also I was able to purchase our first home, and another actually just purchase another property. So even through negative situations or negative environments, there's always a good thing uh, out of it. Even if you're, let's say, hey, I'm failing my store, I'm not making any money. Hey, there's plenty of positive in that as well. What you need to focus on is what is the positive thing that you can get out of this negative thing. For someone who's failing their store or who hasn't found a winning product, one positive thing there is, first, you're understanding, okay, which market is actually working well at the moment. Now you have to look at your numbers to do that, and understand what the data is telling you, which is really important. And another good thing there is, if you're doing a one product store, then again, you are getting data. Leverage those data so that you can manipulate your next strategy, so that in theory should make you profitable in the future. One recent winning product which I found last week was, we tested it on a general store. We made two sales, but we spent about $200, so we lost about
Hmm.
$150 by just testing that. But I saw the stats were really good. What I did was I told the team, hey, can we transition this over to a one product store, or a niche store, and let's actually test it that way, and um, pretty much listen to what the data is telling us, and adjust our store that way and our ads that way. And hey, now this store is doing almost 2K per day. Okay,
Hmm.
we still haven't scaled. Uh, I would say this has the potential to go over five figures per day. But anyway, the story is, there was we were losing money at the start. That's the negative thing about it. But then once we started applying what the data is telling us and thinking about the positives, we started seeing traction. And hey, we made it work, which I'm thinking of doing a case study on, to help other people on my YouTube.
So, can we just touch on some of the data points a little bit more, just because I think this would be a good granular, pragmatic takeaway for it. The way I had this question chambered was from your blog, is that you're talking about like a 5K day. And you were talking about identifying the best, what's the best demographic, what are the best times, what are the best seasons. So, I mean, I guess if you want to just pick on like pick out one of your stores, that would be the best one that you can use to answer the question is that, what exactly is it that you're looking for as a seller, and then how exactly are you translating that data into better scaling?
Very, very important point there, Joseph. So
Thank you.
let's talk about my main store, which is the one that's done 2 million over a couple of years. The main important thing that happened by understanding the data is, what is your data telling you. So for example, with our store, we had one hero product, so that's your one golden winning product, right?
Hmm.
But that didn't become a golden winning product until we understand who our demographics are. And in this case, our demographics are 55 years old and up. Okay, and by doing that, you're gonna start understanding, how are they talking. You gotta understand the customer language. They're older people, and mainly in USA, right? So our main store just sells in USA. When we started doing ads over 55 years old and up, we pretty much tripled our profit. We went from breaking even, okay, by going broad. There's nothing wrong with going broad at the start. But then when we started segmenting those into the right people that actually want to see the product, that wants to buy the product, that's how we tripled the profit. Now, in terms of that, what I look for is not uh, products that can be sold in general, because for me personally, that's harder to sell. Actually, even general products, they segment. Let's say the snow teeth whitening, right? They first started with one segment or of people. Then they started talking their languages, and they did pretty good numbers in that. Now they have multiple segments of people because they have different customer avatars. Okay, so that's
Hmm.
understanding what your customer avatars are. If you have one general golden winning product, focus on one demographics, one customer avatar first. And then once you're able to make that work, why don't you diversify? And hey, there's actually another set of demographics that I can sell to. With our experience with that one winning product, that 55-year-old, it was in the home and garden niche, okay, but then we were able to uh, sell the product, okay, after focusing on one demographics and one set of people, one customer avatar. Then there will be a few people that will be like, hey, I use this for this as well. For example, in our case, I use this for fishing as well. Then we started creating customer avatars for fishing, and that helped us improved our overall sales, because we started creating ads for fishing, using our products, and also our landing page as well. So there's so much things you can do. What you would need to focus on, and what people don't understand, is you only need 1 to 5%. That I'm talking about the US country here. If you can capture the 1% market, that's enough for you to scale up to 8 figures. 1% of those people in the market in USA, you'll be able to scale 8 figures. And that's what I'm seeing at the moment. Then that's when you start diversifying. Hey, let's do 2%, 3%, 5%, and those 5% would be subsets of 1% of different demographics, different customer avatars, and stuff like that. So understand what the data is telling you. Listen to the data. Same as the new winning product that we're doing. We started off bad. We were testing to broad audiences, then transition to a niche store. We went mail only because we thought, hey, the data is telling us there's more people clicking, uh, uh, more male people clicking on our ads. So we stick to that. Then we started, using the customer language, just overall men, and also our product images and our product description images are all men. And we went from 1% to 2.5%, and our ROAS went from 0.25 ROAS to 2.5 ROAS. So that made us profitable, and that's what a 5x return on, oh sorry,
Mhm.
yeah, 5x increase of sales, just because we are targeting that specific audiences. So general uh, drop shippers mistake is selling to everyone, but really you only need to sell to one or two specific demographics or customer avatars.
The way you characterize it as avatar, it sticks out to me just because it's about really making the person that you want to sell to. And then Facebook supplies you with enough data to generate those people for you.
Yeah,
That's
so
incredible. Yeah,
yeah.
and this is the first time that somebody, I don't know, and again, like maybe somebody else said it and it just kind of slipped, but I will say
Yeah.
this is definitely the most that it's stuck out to me.
Yeah, so making those customer avatars, that's enabled us to 3x our return on investment on all of our brand stores. That's when I took a step back from selling to everyone to just focusing on sub niches. So one criteria of my product research is actually, hey, look into a niche within that niche, and look for another niche within that sub niche. So that third level, I'll give you an example. Hey, let's look in the pet niche. Let's look at cat niche. Yeah, the cat niche, and let's look at let's say food cat niche. So that's a
Mhm.
niche within a sub niche. Once we started focusing on that third level, that sub niche, if we want to call it that, that's when we started to see more tractions, more sales, easier to find winning products, higher percentage of finding winning products that way, and more success that way, because not only are you able to create that customer avatar, but it's going to make your life so much easier because you understand their
Mhm.
language, you understand how you can create ads now, you understand their pain points. And what sells is the emotions. If you can hit them with the pain points from the very beginning, or the hook, as most would say, then they're gonna be watching the whole video, and hence you're gonna have more data. Now that comes in more data again. Okay, if you're selling to general niche, then it's harder for you to understand the data, because it's there's so much data, what the data is telling you, that you can't identify if there's a specific demographic or specific interest that's really working really well. So by focusing on one customer avatar, you're gonna understand what the data is telling you, and you're gonna get more data out of that. The more data you have, pretty much will double or triple your ROI.
That's fantastic. I, I appreciate the insight. I really do. We're gonna have to wrap this up. Sorry to say, but yeah,
That's
we're
okay.
so I'm gonna give you. I want to ask you one more question here that I have chambered, and this is about your. This is from your mindset blog. It's about the difference between fixed mindset and growth mindset. For everyone who's listened intently to this whole episode, I think you can kind of grasp the difference between fixed is people who don't grow and growth is people who do. There's one part of it that stuck out to me that I wanted to hone in on, which is that in the fixed expectations mindset, is one of the defeating principles is assuming that people can only get as far as they get because of their natural talents and their abilities. But I wanted to ask you about that because I and I'm not saying that you would in any way, shape, or form discredit or like not recognize natural talents or abilities. But what I want to know is where do you think that a person's natural inclinations fit into the picture? Like, do you have a natural drive to do certain things, and then you apply your growth mindset to grow in those, or yeah? So take it away. Where do you stand on that?
Yeah, so that's a good one. So let's have a look at the highest performing athletes. Let's give an example: Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. Um, he had the natural talent for basketball, right? But in order for him to be in that high caliber, in order for him to be one of the best players in the world, is to improve his skills by not just focusing on the talent that he has right now, but further on, how can he grow even further so he can reach that MVP, or one of the best players in the world,
Hmm.
by having a fixed mindset. Okay, a lot of, like what you said, a lot of people won't go through the hardship of growth, and because it could be because, hey, it's too hard, that's why I'm just gonna stick to what I am at the moment. And but once you start implementing the growth mindset, and implementing it into your daily lifestyle, for example, with Kobe Bryant, he would train for 6 hours, 5 hours per day.
Hmm.
But in order to do that, he found first the motivation. You need the motivation to continue to surpass what your level at the moment. And the second thing is, find your, which I touched on earlier, find things that you can enjoy in the thing that you're doing at the moment. With a fixed mindset, you're gonna be stuck at where you are because you're scared of failing. You're not willing to go through the hardship. So you're like, hey, it's too hard already, but you haven't even done it. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
why why would you not like go through the things that you have to go through to go to the next level, and like say right now that that it's too hard when you haven't even actually done the thing that you're doing. So the second thing is on top of the motivation is the enjoying part. So enjoying part is really important. If I For me personally, I had no clue run on how to run an e-commerce business, right? But I was motivated enough that hey, I want to be financially free through e-commerce. But then I started finding the joy of doing e-commerce, you know. So those two things would be the most important things in order for you to go from fix to growth, while continuously being consistent and doing that for a long period of time. And it's not a matter of how. If you have the growth mindset, it's not a matter of how you're gonna do it. It's when you're gonna be successful, pretty much. So if you're still trying to be successful with what you're doing right now, it's not a matter of how with the growth mindset. It's a matter of when, pretty much. It could be tomorrow, you'll be successful tomorrow, or next month, or the next few years. It doesn't matter. It's a matter of when. Once you start thinking that way, then everything else will follow through.
I'll back up what you're saying, and for our most dedicated listeners, I hope they don't mind whenever I had to repeat things like this. But it's it's new to the guest, so
Yeah.
it's free content, guys. Live with it. But I started doing podcast media 10 years ago. I didn't think I was going to end up where I am now, but I found the joy in it, and I thought, I can. This is a path for me. I can take this path, and I can find, I can make a living off of it. And well, yeah, so far so good.
Wow,
Quite
that's
good, as a matter of fact.
10 years. That's awesome, Joseph.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you, and your success is amazing as well. So congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, we're going to wrap it up here. Jandy, if you want to let people know how they can get in touch with you, your Facebook page, your YouTube page, where can they find you? And you have the floor one more time, just in case you want to impart any last nugget of wisdom. Not going to stop you. Just going to let you go.
So you can find me on YouTube. Just search my name, Jandy Cerezo, JandyCerezo. And I also have a Facebook page where I'm gonna be honest, I haven't been active much, but I'm gonna be back. Ecom
You
Action
should say my
Takers.
LinkedIn.
Yeah. So Ecom Action Takers. Let's Facebook, or you can follow me on Instagram, Jandy Cerezo. In terms of last words of wisdom, stay consistent, stick to your habits,
Mhm.
and be consistent with that. And it's gonna be a matter of when instead of how or what what you're gonna do. So if you really want to be successful, all you have to do is stay consistent in what you do, and make sure those failures that you go through, you learn from it. If you don't learn from it and you don't take action, then might as well just quit right now.
Mhm. All right. Well, everybody, hope you had a good time. I certainly did. And we will check in with you guys. Sorry, it's like meta comment. I'm abysmal at getting us out of this. I don't, I just, all right. Well, we'll check in with you soon. And as always, feel free to contact podcast@debutify.com. See ya.
See ya.
That was still terrible. You know what? I'm not editing this out, by the way. I want people to understand my struggle here. All right. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Joseph.
You too. You might have found this show on any number of platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, or right here on Debutify. Whatever the case, if you enjoyed this content and want to help us thrive, please take a few moments to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you think is best. We also want to hear from you, so whether you think you'd be a good guest or want to weigh in on anything related to our show, you can email podcast@debutify.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Finally, this podcast is created by the passionate team at Debutify. If you're ready to take the plunge into e-commerce or are looking to up your game, head over to Debutify.com and see how it can change your life and the lives of many through what you do next.